All right, if you're a senior architect trying to wrangle multiple cloud environments, you already know that identity and security are everything. So today we're going to tackle one of the trickiest and honestly most overlooked parts of that world: how to build a single unified certificate management strategy that actually works across all your different cloud providers.
Let's be real for a second. When you think about your whole PKI setup and certificate lifecycle across AWS, Azure, and GCP, does it feel like you've got it under control? Or does it feel a little more like a ticking time bomb? You know, with dozens of expiration dates just scattered everywhere, waiting to trigger the next big production outage. For so many companies, this is a huge unresolved risk, and today, we're going to figure out how to diffuse it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about the nightmare that you're probably living right now. Then we'll get on the same page with what certificate management actually is. We'll look at the native tools each cloud gives you, then the solutions that can bridge those gaps. After that, we'll dive into the automation blueprint that makes it all work, and finally, we'll put all the pieces together into a strategy you can actually use.
First up, let's just acknowledge the chaos, right? This isn't just you. This is a systemic problem that pops up pretty much the second you go multi-cloud. And it has some very specific and, very painful symptoms.
Does this whole list look a little too familiar? You've got no central dashboards. You can't even answer a simple question like, hey, what certs are expiring this month? Every renewal is a manual ticket, a copy and paste job that's just begging for human error. Your security policies are completely different in each cloud, which leads to this dangerously inconsistent posture. And all of this leads to the one thing that keeps architects like you up at night: expired certificates causing massive outages. And this isn't some theoretical risk. A single expired cert has taken down major government services, huge gaming platforms, all for hours. It's the ultimate, completely avoidable error.
So to actually solve this, we need to get back to basics for just a moment. Let's make sure we're all speaking the same language here and really agree on what it is we're trying to manage.
At its heart, certificate lifecycle management is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is the structured, disciplined process for handling every single stage of a certificate's life. It's not just about getting a new cert. It's about owning its entire journey from start to finish to guarantee that you have uninterrupted trust and security.
And this really shows you that entire journey. Look, it starts with issuance and deployment. That's the easy part. But the real ongoing work is in the monitoring and the rotation. A failure at any one of these stages, but especially rotation, can have absolutely catastrophic results. And think of revocation as your emergency brake. You have to know exactly how to pull it and pull it instantly if a certificate is ever compromised.
Now, of course, every cloud provider gives you tools to manage this lifecycle. And they're easy to get started with, they're tightly integrated, and they seem like the obvious choice. But here's the catch. In a multi-cloud world, they accidentally build these huge walls between your environments. They create silos.
You know, what's so interesting here is the paradox it creates. AWS Certificate Manager is fantastic for AWS services. Azure Key Vault is perfect for Azure, and GCP's tool is great for Google Cloud. But each one is its own walled garden. Using them exclusively is like having a totally different, incompatible set of keys for every single room in your house. There's no master key.
So how do we build that bridge between all these different silos? Well, we need tools that are cloud agnostic, tools that can act as that master key, giving us that single pane of glass and unified control over our entire multi-cloud infrastructure.
So, two of the most powerful unifiers out there are HashiCorp Vault and cert-manager, and they solve the problem from slightly different angles. Think of Vault as your enterprise-grade central command center. It can actually become your own internal certificate authority, issuing certs for services not just in any cloud, but on-prem too. It's the solution for total top-down control. Now, on the other hand, cert-manager is pretty much the standard for anything Kubernetes. It's laser-focused on automating certificates inside your clusters, and it often works with public CAs like Let's Encrypt. The cool part is, they can even work together. You could use Vault as your root CA and then have cert-manager in your clusters automatically issue certs that are signed by Vault.
So we have the tools. But here's the thing. The right tool used the wrong way is still the wrong solution. The core principle that makes any of this work at scale isn't the tool itself, it's the philosophy behind it. Relentless end-to-end automation.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? You simply cannot rely on calendar reminders, emails, and manual processes to manage hundreds, maybe thousands of certificates across multiple clouds. It is just not a human-scale problem anymore. Automation is really the only way forward. And the technology that really unlocks all of this amazing automation is the Acme protocol. It's the open standard that lets your servers automatically talk to a certificate authority, like Let's Encrypt, to request, renew, and install certificates without any human having to touch anything. It's the engine that powers modern automated PKI.
So how does it work? It's actually a really simple, elegant flow. An agent on your server says, hey, I need a certificate. The CA says, okay, prove to me you actually control that domain, and issues a challenge. The agent automatically completes that challenge, and once it's verified, boom, the CA issues the certificate. It's a completely hands-off, programmatic handshake.
All right, let's bring this all home. We've looked at the problem, we've seen the tools, we understand the automation protocol. So how do we combine all of these things into a robust, actionable strategy that you can actually go and implement?
So here's the crucial point. Your strategy has to stand on these 4 pillars. First, you've got to centralize your control plane. Pick a tool and make it your single source of truth. Second, automate everything. Use the ACME protocol for all of it. Third, implement centralized monitoring that plugs right into that source of truth. And finally, define and actually enforce a clear policy for rotation that every single team has to follow. No exceptions.
And the payoff for doing this work, it's immense. You get enhanced security because your policy is consistent everywhere. You get a massive increase in reliability because you pretty much eliminated outages from expired certs. And this is a big one, you get operational sanity. That's the difference between getting paged at 3 a.m. for our renewal someone forgot and spending your time architecting the next big thing, totally confident that your certificate infrastructure is just running itself.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Right now, today, is your multi-cloud certificate strategy an asset that helps your teams move fast and stay secure? Or is it a hidden liability, a ticking bomb just waiting to become your next major incident? The choice of what to architect is yours.